Welcome back, everyone. Happy February. It is the day after the Super Bowl, and today's guest is Joshua Martinez, who is the Community Outreach Director. Is that your correct title? For the American Diabetes Association. He is also a newly elected school board member for the Albuquerque Public Schools, West Side District number 5. And he also serves on the board of the Albuquerque West Side Business Association. So we have a great guest today. So Joshua, what's the word on the West Side?
Hi, thank you, Melissa, for having me. Really excited to be here. Really excited to see this whole podcast situation come together. You did a great job, and yes, just really excited to be able to promote the West Side and all the things that are happening on the West Side.
Absolutely. And I do want to also mention that this episode is brought to us by Signature Sweets and Flowers, which is actually located just right across the street from our office, 3200, I believe 3200 Coors Boulevard. It is Valentine's season, so be sure to call in your orders, get your flowers. They do delivery. You can pick up flowers. So thanks to Lisa and the team over at Signature Sweets for these beautiful roses here. I'm going to enjoy them.
Yeah, they smell good. You can smell them from here. They smell great. Yeah, she does a great job. I often go and get my Valentine's gifts from them. So
Great.
yeah.
So tell us a little bit about you're a West Sider, right?
Yes,
Okay.
I am a West Sider.
Yes. So tell us, how long have you lived on the West Side?
I've lived on the West Side for about 8 years now. Been in Albuquerque for much longer than that, but on the West Side specifically. I often tell this story, when my wife and I were looking for a place to build our home and to locate in the city of Albuquerque, we looked all over the city. And then we found an area here on the West Side, fell in love with the area, the community, and decided that's where we wanted to, be and wanted to, raise our family. And we're so glad that we did.
Yeah. Did you get to enjoy the Super Bowl yesterday?
I did. Yeah, we did. House full of kids, but yeah, we were able to,
Did you host a party?
no,
Just the family?
just the family. Yeah, we're 5 of us, so
Yeah.
it's always a party
Yeah.
everywhere we go. So it was a nice day, just kind of relaxing and watching the game, watching the commercials, and having some good food.
A lot of commercials. It's always like a big thing with the Super Bowl is commercial advertising. I don't think any of them really stuck out to me though. Maybe one actually. So anybody that knows me knows that I love Diet Coke, and there was the Pepsi commercial with the bears,
Yes,
which was kind of cute. They were
Right.
just throwing a little shade on Coke.
Right.
Cute, but I have to disagree. I think the Diet Coke is much better than the Pepsi.
I agree too. Yeah, no, we're also a Coke family. So my son was a little upset with the commercial. He's very loyal to his brands, and Coke is one of them. And so we're just waiting to see what Coke does to come back at Pepsi.
Yeah, they got to clap back.
Yeah, they definitely do.
So who are you rooting for?
We really weren't rooting for anyone. We got some squares from some friends who are doing some fundraisers for their kids for
Yeah.
baseball teams and stuff. So we were really just going after the score. Fortunately, we didn't win anything, but yeah, I mean, it wasn't too much of an exciting game, but
It definitely wasn't. You know, my team's season ended in heartbreak, and I think with a healthy Bo Nix, I definitely think the Broncos had a good shot of winning that.
yeah, I think so too. And I've heard a lot of that today. Maybe next year.
Next year.
Next
Next
year.
year, back strong. So who's your team?
Well, my son is Patrick Mahomes and Kansas City Chief fan, and so I've kind of jumped on that.
Oh no, Nemesis.
Yeah, and I mean, I grew up a Broncos fan,
Okay.
so I still do root for them, even though they're in the same
Right.
division and the whole thing. But yeah, and the kids nowadays they just kind of jump to whoever's good, whoever's popular. Um, yeah, so we're on the Pat Mahomes bus right now.
I agree. And I think that's, with New Mexico not really having a professional NFL team, but you are a huge Lobo fan,
Right,
huge
yes.
supporter of the Lobos.
Yes.
Have you been to any of the games
Yes.
lately?
You know, we have been season ticket holders for a number of years in the past, and then after last season, a lot of changes happened. Coach Patino left, and every single player, every single coach on our team, left, and it was a little discouraging for me, for my son. With the teams, the local teams here, you get to know them. My son would go to basketball camps, and we got to know the players and the coaches, and just to have everyone leave was a little hard. And so we didn't necessarily renew our season tickets this year, and it was going to be a busy year already for us. With me with the campaign with the school board
Right.
and everything else that I'm involved with. We did go to lots of Lobo football games, which was really fun and exciting. And then basketball, oftentimes they're late at night during the week. And so it's always hard to, for my son, he's only in fifth grade, so he has school the next day. So, we didn't get Lobo tickets this year, and we haven't been to a game yet, but we watch them and follow them very closely.
Yeah. So I guess the hope would be for your kids to eventually go to UNM.
Yeah. Went to UNM. I have 2 degrees from UNM, my bachelor's and my master's from UNM, and then my brother, my 2 sisters all have their bachelor's and masters from UNM. So big Lobo UNM supporters and family. My wife has a bachelor's degree from UNM. So yeah, that's kind of the key. And being in education, it was never really, are you going to college or where you're going to college? It was always kind of, well, you're going to go to UNM, and I always wanted to. So it's just it's a part of us here in New Mexico.
Yeah, that's always a family influence. My family, unfortunately, we did not go to college. We opened up shop. My family started businesses.
Yeah,
We did not, although I did go to CNM. But yeah.
And that's really cool because of course it's much needed. We America is built off business, off small businesses and local businesses, and as a newly elected school board member, I'm very interested in promoting all types of careers for our students. And so whether that is college, yes, but whether it's, going to trade school or learning a trade, electrician, plumber, welder, whatever that may be, military, or jumping in a career, in a job right away. But I do think that we need to expose our students at a young age about all the different opportunities that they have available to them. I think for a long time, the focus was more on college, like, oh, you need to go to college. Like, college is the only way, and I think for a long time, that was the kind of the focus from teachers, from parents, from counselors, and we lost a lot of those trades. We lost a lot of those jobs, and so a lot of people went to college, and now there's people that have degrees that can't use them. There's people who are in debt. And can't find jobs or can't use their degree for the specific job that they wanted or whatever the case. So definitely my focus would be promoting all types of careers and all types of opportunities. And business definitely is something that I'm passionate about, and promoting local businesses across the state, our city, but definitely here on the west side.
Yeah. So, how important is education to economic development?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's important. There's lots of people who go to business school, right? I think there's associates that you can get in business, and then there's a bachelor's, and then an MBA. So different levels of education that you can receive in business, but there's also real life experience that can be gained by just kind of jumping in. We talk to people all the time through the West Side Business Association of they just had an idea and jumped in it, and learned by trial and error, by failure, whatever that may be. But I don't think education is necessary. I think it does probably give you some skills and knowledge, but definitely not necessary. But
Yeah.
Probably helpful.
Helpful. I would say probably in the aspect of financial literacy. Our guest the last episode, Ken Jackson, we talked about when they start the business, they don't necessarily register, they don't do accounting, bookkeeping, that type of stuff. So it's for somebody just starting out. I think that piece is so important, and I know recent legislation is required financial literacy now for. Is it high school students?
Yeah.
Yes.
So the state legislature, New Mexico State Legislature, did pass legislation that it could be an option for school districts to implement, like an elective. APS though has recently made it mandatory.
Right.
So it can vary by district. The district has the discretion to either make it mandatory or make it an option. But APS did make it a requirement. So all students before graduation, I forget what year they take that, but before graduation have to go through a financial literacy course, which I think is very beneficial. And our friend Senator Mo Maestas was the one that put that bill forth. So
Yeah. I mean, it's important just in life in general, knowing how to budget, knowing to save, because I feel like a lot of that I wasn't taught a lot of that early on until now I'm like see the importance of doing all of that stuff, and I tell everyone budgeting is a nightmare for me. That's like the one thing I want to hand off to somebody else because it's just not my thing.
Sure. Yeah, and with everything that is available now with credit cards, and learning about interest and how you have to pay those credit cards, and with loans and student loans and all of these things, I think it is very crucial that our students learn that. And if they're not getting it at home, now it's mandatory that they get it in the classroom. So I think that's something very good.
Right. So you do come from a family of educators.
I do.
What made you decide to go into this newly position, running a campaign, going into the school board?
Yeah, well, I come from a family of educators. My dad was a public school educator for over 30 years. And my brother and my two sisters all work in the public schools. My wife works at a public school here in Albuquerque. And then we have 3 young children. So we have a 10-year-old who's in 5th grade, Lincoln, and a 5-year-old daughter, Haley, who just started kindergarten this year. And then we have a 3-year-old, Liam, who's in daycare, but we'll be joining them in a few years. And so education, like I say, had always been really important to me. My upbringing, and like I say, it was never really an option if I was going to college or not. It was just kind of expected that I was. And although I didn't go into like an education field for my career path, I I did choose to do something a little different, and I'm more in the healthcare, and still in community, which is very important to me. And so, what I decided was, my two passions, community and education. And there was an open seat for the APS school board here in District 5. And so I wasn't really thinking about it until we found out that the former board member was not running for reelection, and talked to a few people, and then started really thinking about it, and decided, what better opportunity to put my two passions, together: community and education, and be a school board member for the largest school district in the state of New Mexico. So, really, just wanting the best for not only my kids in their educational journey, but all students across our city, and especially here on the west side.
Absolutely. And the West Side is growing. What are the responsibilities of a school board member?
Yeah, so very good question. There's three main responsibilities of a school board member. The first would be we do manage and approve the budget. APS does have a $2.2 billion budget. It's larger than the city of Albuquerque's budget, larger than Bernalillo County's budget, and so that's one of our main responsibilities. The next is policy, and so we approve and we come up with or take out, different policy as it relates to the school district, and then we oversee the superintendent, and so we hire or fire and evaluate the superintendent. And so those are our three main responsibilities. And sometimes, people think that we might have more responsibility than that, and so we're always willing to hear concerns or whatever, and we can relay it to the administration, and that's perfectly fine. But the operations and the administrative part of the of the school district is the responsibility of the superintendent and her staff.
Yeah. So, and how often does the school board meet?
Yeah, so we meet twice a month. The first Wednesday and the third Wednesday of every month at 5 p.m. at the APS Administration Building of Louisiana, and then they're also live streamed.
Okay.
Every meeting is live streamed, and then we have some committee meetings also. As board members, we're also appointed, or we also are have other like responsibilities. There's a finance budget, there's a finance committee, there's a audit committee, and a few other committees that we sit on and just kind of do the work in the committees, and then make the decisions during the board meetings.
Okay. And those are those also live streamed?
Those are all our meetings are live streamed, open to the public. So full transparency, full access to the community for sure.
So do you get a lot of participation from parents or people attending these meetings?
Yeah, unfortunately not. We definitely try to encourage more involvement from community or from parents. There's often the same few people who go to these meetings. People that are real passionate about a certain topic or topics. They'll go and kind of share their their thoughts. But yeah, no, we love to have public comment. We love to hear what's going on in your schools, what's going on in your community, and would welcome that. I think it's important that parents especially should be involved in the educational journey of their kids, of their students. So yeah, no, we welcome it for sure.
Perfect. Yeah. And so last week we were up in Santa Fe, celebrated Albuquerque West Side Day, and had our legislative reception. But you were also there for some training.
Yes. Yeah, I was a part of the New Mexico School Board Association. They do a really great job of supporting school boards and school districts across the state, providing trainings and education, especially for new board members who might not understand all the ins and outs of and roles and responsibilities of being a school board member. And so really informative sessions and trainings on what we should be doing, and this was specifically towards the legislature. So how to talk to legislators, what issues are coming up in the legislature, should we should be supporting or not, or whatever. So really good information, and yeah, really been pleased to be a part of the New Mexico School Board Association. It's been very helpful for me.
Yeah, and it's pretty much it's a volunteer position, right? You're not
Yeah.
paid. You still have to do your full time job.
Right,
How do you balance that all out with the family?
Yeah, it's basically a volunteer position. Yeah, no, we don't get paid or anything like that. There's a small per diem payment that we get for meetings and things like that. But yeah, and of course I went in knowing that. Again, I think it's a big responsibility, and it's something that we shouldn't take lightly. And of course, if we want to do it, we should be doing it for the right reasons and wanting the best for our students and for our district. And so that's kind of where I was in my decision. But yeah, I have a day job. I have 3 kids and a wife, and so I'm really I took office January 1st, so got through my first month and really just trying to get a feel for the time management aspect to it, with meetings and all the studying that we have to do for meetings. We get packets of information a week before the meeting, and we have to read through so many reports and information because of the decisions that we have to make. You want to go in there prepared and informed to make the best possible decision for our students and for our district. So yeah, no, it's working out, fine. I have a very supportive family, and so that makes it easier. And then my job, I do, like you mentioned, I work for the American Diabetes Association, and I work from home. We don't necessarily have any physical offices. We're a national nonprofit organization, and so all the employees we work from home, and so that allows me some flexibility. They were very encouraging, and when I told them that I wanted to do this, and very happy when I won, and so it fits together really well. So yeah, I'm really grateful for that, because in another situation, I don't know that I could have done it, and
Right.
that does prevent a lot of people from running for political office. It's just too hard to do.
Time consuming, and the pay
Right.
is not great. And even um, with other elected officials, like I think right now in Santa Fe, they're trying to pass legislation to pay state legislators, but a lot of work goes into public service like this. So we thank you, of course, for doing that. What do you see? I know you've just only been in a short time, but what are the major issues that our school districts facing?
Sure. So our academic outcomes has always been kind of at the forefront, an issue. you call it an issue, we hear all the time about New Mexico and our educational system. We hear, oh, we're 50th in the country. Um, and technically, yes, on some measurements, on some, you know, aspects, we are considered 50th. But there's a lot of people actually, and I talked to Senator Mo Maestas last week about this. There's a lot of people looking more closely at the information, at the data, and it's really showing that New Mexico is not necessarily 50th in education. We are a lot higher than that, and so we're doing a lot of really great work. A lot of it just comes down to testing and data and information like that, and so we have people within our district in Santa Fe who are kind of figuring that out. But as far as our district here, we have a strategic plan that was put into place in 2023, and it's around four areas, four goals, four specific goals, and those are reading, math, their career readiness, and like life skills.
Mm.
And so, really looking at our students and ensuring that they can read, they can do math, that they are ready for life outside of high school or upon completion of high school, and then that they have skills needed to be great citizens, out in school and outside of school. And so every meeting, we actually do what's called progress monitoring. And so every meeting, the administration will put a report for us together to see where we are as it relates to those specific goals. And, every month, for the most part, we are advancing in all those goals. So it really is exciting to see. I will say the progress probably isn't as drastic or doesn't increase as much as we would like. Because APS is such a big district. I mean, we
Right.
have 65,000 students, 12,000 employees. I mean, it's just a really huge operation. And so, in order for us, we are seeing success, but it's going to take some time to see like real success. We can't necessarily, and so with the strategic plan, this was the previous board who did it. They came up with measurable, realistic measurements of improvement, and so going up, a few points or 10 percentage points or whatever within the 5 years of the strategic plan. So we can't be unrealistic and say we want to move up 50 points or whatever.
Right.
That's just not realistic. And so I know, there's people that say, yeah, we're improving, but we're not improving fast enough, or we're
Right.
not improving enough. And I understand how people, but I will say I'm very positive with the outcomes. I'm very positive of what our staff and our teachers are doing, our students are doing. It's just going to take some time, but we're headed in the right direction.
Great. Well, it's good to know. And how can anybody, you mentioned that they can go in person. How do they find out where they can live stream these meetings?
Sure. Yeah. Our website, aps.edu, has all the information about everything APS. There's a school board tab that they can click on, and then that shows all the schedule of all our meetings, and then the live stream. You can go on from there. We also have our own YouTube channel, so if you just search APS YouTube channel, they can find all the previous meetings there and live when they go online there. And then all our social media has really good context, really good information about what our schools are doing, specific schools, students, teachers, teachers of the month, students of the month, all that stuff. And so what I'm really wanting to do as a new board member is really try to just get the word out about
Yeah.
what APS is doing good, what APS is doing, positive. We always hear the negative. And then I want to take it even further. And I really want to do that for the West Side schools. I want to really do that for the schools in my district who, um, West Mesa is the high school in my district. And we always hear the negative
Right.
of West Mesa. We always, hear, oh, I want to send my kids to Volcano Vista rather than West Mesa. And, oh, I don't want my kid to go to West Mesa High School. And you hear all this, but I can tell you, I'm met with the principal a number of times, visited the school. It's such a great school, and they're
It
doing
is.
so many really great things. And we want to turn that perception around, the negative perception, turn it into positive, sharing all the great things that they're doing, and a place where parents want to send their kids and where kids want to go. So that's my whole goal, along with the elementary schools and the middle schools that feed up to West Mesa. But that's definitely very important to me.
Yeah, I agree. They're a community school, and I have not been to one of the meetings, but I was on the community school council, and that has always been a big issue with the principal there and the teachers. How do we rewrite the impression of West Mesa High School?
Mm-hmm.
So,
Yes, and as the representative for the district, yeah, I'm going to definitely do whatever I can to help with that.
that's
And,
awesome.
yeah.
And if you could just tell everyone where your district is.
So yeah, District 5 for APS. It goes as north as Western Trail. It's St. Joe's, and then Western Trail right by the Presbyterian ER and urgent care is, and then it goes all the way south um, to Rio Bravo, or to I forget what the street is going west, but to Rio Bravo, and then it's from the river all the way west. So pretty large district. A lot of the west side is in this district. A lot of really great schools, from elementary schools to the middle schools, and then to West Mesa. But yeah, I would encourage anyone, if anyone has any issues or concerns or questions, you can always reach out to me. My information is on the APS website, but my email is joshua.martinez@aps.edu. And yeah, would love to hear from anyone and everyone that might need something.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Joshua, for joining us on this episode. Again, I want to thank Signature Sweets and Flowers for sponsoring this episode with this beautiful bouquet of roses. I could smell the aroma here, smelling the roses. And also, we have some upcoming events. We will be doing we're working on a cornhole tournament, as well as a health fair and what else do we have? You have to remind me. We have the cornhole tournament, health fair, community shred day, and our golf classic. Also, our shop local Coors corridor initiative, which is great that we have Signature Sweets as one of our local businesses on Coors. So thanks again, and we'll see you on the next episode.
Okay, thank you so much.